Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. Once again, it's time for Lancing with myself. Coming to you now from Brisbane. This is the weekly 5-minute YouTube series where I just give you a benefit of my game design genius, in inverted commas, of 20 years experience. Today, I want to talk to you about criticism. This is a huge topic, and I'm actually hoping to present a talk on the subject at GCAP later this year, because criticism is a huge issue in the industry. So I'm just going to hit one little highlight today. But I should stress that I come from the rare position where criticism is not something that really nags at me too much. For the most part, I just kind of assume most of my games are going to be garbage and have a lot of problems with them. So for me, criticism is just the expected state. And that's just how I've been able to approach art. That's one of the privileges I have of just my brain being my brain. So I understand that it's much more difficult for other people, and it's harder for me to put myself in their shoes because it's just not as huge an issue for me. It doesn't feel great, but I'm used to it, and I know it happens, and I also value it. But as I say, it's mostly that I just think the baseline is that it's probably crap. So when people are like, no, this is really good, I'm like, wow, okay, that's not what I expected. And that's one way to help that approaches it. The point is, you're going to get criticism, and you get criticism at lots of stages, and you need to find a way to deal with it. It might be that way, it might be another way, but ultimately, game design is like any art, dependent on criticism, but more than that, it is an art form that is shaped by criticism. It's not like writing a book or painting a picture. It's not a physical art form where you can learn it so much on your own. And it's not really like writing where once you've mastered a bit of skill, there's a story that comes out of everyone. Although even writing deserves a lot of its criticism. I believe what Oscar Wilde said, that all art needs to be critical. That the critic's job is to make art better. The critic's job is to stand between the artist and the audience and translate those things, but also to reflect, so to educate the audience, but also to reflect back on the artist about whether they've been successful or not. Whereas these days, because of the internet, we've kind of thrown out the critic because so many people are assholes on the internet. And I've seen people who claim to be reviewers say things like every game is a beautiful little snowflake. It's not. A lot of games, most games, are garbage. Right? Sturgeon's law: 90% of everything is garbage. Most games are garbage, and they're just not that good. They're not that innovative. They're not that brilliant. They're not that clever. There's a reason why Shut Up and Sit Down doesn't review most games. They only review the absolute cream of the crop, or things that they can't ignore for other reasons. So your game is probably not going to be that special. It's going to have flaws. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to look back as soon as you've done your next game and go, ooh, that wasn't good. Oh well. And you're just going to have to get better. The artists that succeed are the ones that keep moving forward, and that means you're going to take your fair share of knocks. You're going to hit your fair share of flops. You're going to make mistakes. You just got to keep moving forward. The reviews will come in. Sometimes they'll be bad. Sometimes they'll be good. Hang on to the good, because the bad is just around the corner. It's just the way it goes, and you've got to be mature about it. You can't be precious. I see a lot of young designers going, oh, that was very critical. And, we even have systems in our groups where we say, like, are you feeling fragile? We'll support you. If not, give us a sign. We use the green, orange, red system, basically. Red means let us have it, be as critical as possible. Green means I'm feeling shy and need hugs. It's okay to need hugs, but you're going to need that criticism too. And especially with game design. As I said, it's not a physical art form. It's not something you can train. It's not something you can do in isolation. It is an art form that depends on extending yourself to the user experience through as many rounds of playtesting as possible. Thousands and thousands and thousands of playtests. It is like stand-up comedy in this regard. It cannot be shaped without an audience, and that means criticism. The idea is you're going to run it and 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 run it until the criticism stops. Yes, you're looking for enthusiasm and interest as well, but the point of game design is to make it a smooth and accessible experience as possible, so that everything is as clear and as easy and as simple and as effortless as it can possibly be. And that the only way to do that is to run it and run it and run it through every single possible criticism. So if criticism is bothering you now, oh boy, you're not ready for this. Because that is what it is. You're going to run your game until people stop criticizing it, at least your playtesters stop, and then you're going to release it, and then you're back where I started with the other thing, where the criticism is going to come. And you take your reviews and you move on. As long as you did your due diligence, you know that the critics can be right or wrong, but you have to do the work, and that means being told whether it's good or whether it's shit by your co-workers, your co-designers, your scene, and your playtesters over and over again. So find a way to deal with it, because your game is shit right now, and it will be shit until it's polished, and even then, it might still be shit, and you might get told so. Find a way to deal with it. That's my advice for now. It's life. Until next time, be good, and all those other things. Bye.